standing on the top step of the podium. The original Spa-Francorchamps was one of the fastest tracks in Europe and has a reputation for being dangerous, with most of the corners being taken at more than 180 miles an hour. Spa-Francorchamps also hosts the Spa 24 Hours and 1,000 kilometer Spa races. Outside of the racing world, it has been used several times for the Tour de France. Spa is known for its unpredictable weather, with rain frequently shaking up the race weekend. 2008 saw a frantic battle between Lewis Hamilton and Kimi Raikkonen. Conditions were bad due to a late shower of rain, causing Hamilton to spin before resuming his lead in the closing lap, where Raikkonen crashed. Stewards went on to issue a penalty to Hamilton due to alleged corner cutting, dropping him down to third place. Despite Ferrari's success at Spa, Kimi Raikkonen's win here in 2009 will be the last victory that the Tifosi would taste until Sebastian Vettel 2018. A warm welcome to our spectators today from our Belgian locals, the fans.
Hello everybody, and welcome to the Euro Titans Championship round number 7 here at Spa-Francorchamps. You can see live here on stream, we've got the track layout for you as qualifying has begun. We'll get to the action in just a few short moments time, but welcome along, as I say, to round number 7, and we will get the action ready and started for you very, very shortly. 20 corners here then for Spa-Francorchamps, 11 to the right, 9 to the left, and 2 DRS zones. One down the start finish straight between number 20 and number 1 there, and the other one up the Camel Straight, as you can see, past turn number 6, which of course is the famous and fabled Radion El Rouge section leading into the Camel. But there we are, 20 corners. Brilliant, fast, furious laps that can be set round here, and we'll get a good look here at the live championship here at the moment. So after 6 rounds have gone, and we have got BR Bunga Racing Team there on top with 200 points exactly. Nice rounded number. The Inter Racing Series trying to mount a late charge here in this championship. They're on 174, and the All Elite Racing Team are in third on 142. And you can see a bit further down the list, the gaps are not too drastically far apart from some of these guys. So you can definitely see some battles being made. Should, of course, they can score some good points this evening. But nonetheless, we're here for this, which is some action, of course. Want to see cars going fast on a circuit. And you'll have to bear with me this evening because I have, as you can see there, I'm trying to work it on the computer this time so that we can get a bit of a better angle for you all. As we try and get an onboard, here we go, we can get the TV pod view now, so we can get a little bit of a better angle of the action for you this evening. Currently on board here then with Polo in the Red Bull team, and if my memory serves me correctly, that is the All Elite racing team that they currently occupy, the Red Bull outfit. I'll double check that for you. Yes, it is. So not many drivers here this evening, only 12 registered, so we are down a few. You can see one has retired, but that is due to a qualifying ban for the Williams team, so Aero Esports only able to field one this evening. They're all on their first flying runs at the moment, so we should start to see the first lap times coming in, and we can see what the gauntlet is going to be set and what sort of times we're looking to maybe get this evening. And there we go, BRT Meatball straight out and early along with his teammate Samuel, 141 dead and a 141.2, so barely separated by much at all. AERT Owen goes in third, and then Polo jumps in between the two BRT drivers, in between the Alfa Romeos there. 141, 111, all the ones, as they say. IRS Thomas, there we go, already into the 140s. That's kind of the lap time I was expecting here this evening, but there are still a few there out on the circuit. We still got the Hasses for the Claret Racing Esports. They're still yet to set their lap. I say that as Any has set his lap, and through the final corner comes Marty. He runs up to the line. What's his lap time going to be? It's a 140.9, but it's invalid. Otherwise, that would have put him provisionally second on the grid on the front row. So clearly has pace, which is good news, because hopefully we'll see it nice and close for qualifying, because then that does mean that we should get some close on-track action for the race itself. And like I say, we haven't got that many drivers. Got 13 now, so that's a little bit better than before, but there is not a huge grid here, of course, so hopefully they'll make up for it with some brilliant close on-track racing. But we've still got qualifying to set the grid first of all. 50% run for the ETC, so it'll be 22 long laps here at Spa. Still riding on board here with Marty for the moment. Let's see if he can actually set a valid lap this time around. Through Puong. Pretty much flat left-hand corner. Probably only lift ever so slightly, maybe drop it a gear to get the revs to match it, but it is almost flat out. And into the final sector here, which of course for the next game, if you haven't seen it already, will be remodelled, and they will have a nice new looking Spa, and to be honest, from what I have seen, it does look quite pretty, so I'm looking forward to that. Oh, BRT Samuel has been disqualified. What is going on there? He's been disqualified from the session entirely. I wonder, was he impeding someone on the lap? So Marty's actually not going to finish that. He's going to come straight in which case then we'll ride on board with Bourbon Boy, although he is on his out lap, so he's not pushing just yet, but he's going to be the only one about to set a lap time. I think Easton has just set his, and actually, yeah, he's making his way into the pits, so we'll head back with Bourbon Boy. And I tell you what we might be able to do then, we might be able to ride with a hot lap on board with the AlphaTauri driver. See where he can slot that car on the grid. See what he can do for FGE, the Force Group Esports. On the run, up towards the bus stop chicane. All the battery still available to him. He's on his outlap, as I say, so no need to use it. Nice wide entry into the final corner to straighten that car up as early as he can to get the best possible launch to start this lap. He's going to brake as late as he dares and tries to clip the apex, but he's absolutely left it a mile wide. Didn't want to hug that one too tightly at all, but it shouldn't cost him too much time in the grand scheme of things as he runs down towards El Rouge Radion. Up the hill he goes, and then onto the Kemmel Straight. You're flat out for a long way up here, so you really did need to nail the exit of turn number 1. But at the end of here, we're going to get into a nice twisty section. Into the Kemmel we go. It's looking pretty neat and tidy so far. Right-hander downhill now, and now to one of the trickiest corners on the circuit, in my opinion. Long right-hander dips away from you, off camber. Very easy to run it wide, and of course it costs you a lot of lap time as well. Don't run too wide there. I think he just about nailed that, otherwise that could have been invalid. And then Puon, one of the best corners on the F1 calendar, almost flat out in these machines, and you get into the middle chicane for the middle sector of this lap. A little bit unknown, not unknown, that's not the way to word it, but a little bit not as well known in the community, I would say. Of course, you've got the die-hard fans that will remember every single detail, but you know, the more casual are probably not as on it. And then you've got the long run up towards the bus stop chicane. Crucial corner once again into the bus stop. We should see some overtakes happening into this corner. Clipping the apexes rather nicely here is Bourbon Boy. Straighten it up as quick as you can on the power, DRS, and up to the line. What's it going to be? Well, if it was valid, it would have been a 141 dead, and that would actually be good enough for second on the row. So clearly has the pace, just needs to make it count and not get it invalidated. But good to see, though, that everyone is fairly similarly paced out there. Liam Harben then on his run up towards towards turn number 7 at the end of the Kemmel Straight there. So now into the middle sector as you come down the hill once again after climbing it for so long, and seeing where you can make or break your lap. Of course, the longest lap on the calendar it's not necessarily reflected in the lap times, but it is the longest. trying to remember how long it actually is. I have got it here. It's 7 kilometres long, or 4.35 miles, depending on what side of the pond you hail from. Obviously, one of those laps, because it's so long, if you make a mistake right at the beginning, like you've got a long trudge back towards the pits in order to put a new set of tyres on, especially if you get off the circuit. But it does mean there's a lot of chances for you to make a mistake and lose time. But equally, you can look at it the other way. A lot of chances to make up time, so you can improve on your lap and beat your rivals as well. But at the moment, IRS Thomas has done an absolute stellar job there. 3/10 ahead of the BRT man, as Liam Hardman set a lap, 1:41.4, but not valid. But that would have been good enough for, I think, 5th or 6th position there. So once again, the lap times are looking pretty good from all. They've just got to try and keep the lap together and not invalidate it, because that is going to cost you big time, especially if you don't finish the lap to set it. So even if you are, for example, Niall here, he set a lap time, he's put the banker in, and so he's got that lap there. He's actually up on his lap time here as well, so he may even be on another push lap. Through the final sector he goes. What can he do then on this second run? He's got the banker in, so now he's no hold bars, pushing to the end, just to see if he can eke out any small advantage, as Polo then sets provisional pole position on 140.6. That's pretty quick as well, and that puts Thomas in his place. He's going to have some work to do if he wants to beat him on this occasion, as Niall improves as well. They're 141.6. Respectable lap time nonetheless. I am going to find up some... I'm going to look up some corner names, because I appear to have forgotten them all. I can't imagine how I've forgotten them all, but nonetheless I certainly have done. Of course, the famous ones you can never really forget, but either way, I have somehow managed to forget all of the names around this circuit, and I do not know how or why. I think it could be setting it all up on the computer for a change to give it a bit more of a professional look as we go in and out, but nonetheless we are here and we are talking, so that's all I can do, is continue on waffling in your ear as you look with your eyes. Just naming the obvious now at this point. Here goes Marty though, up through Blanchemont and then in towards the bus stop chicane. This looks to be a pretty good lap time by the seams of things. Let's make sure it's valid this time. Never mind, he's coming straight into the pits. He wants to go again. Still no time set though from 4 of the guys out there. We've had one disqualification, which I'm unsure as to what happened there and why. But nonetheless, it has demoted BRT Sam right to the back, and that's probably where he's going to start as well. See if something went wrong. Just having a quick look in the chat here. As far as I can see, no reason as to why maybe that has happened, and there's no initial sort of contact in the chat there to see that he was sort of angry with it or anything such as that. But either way, down and out, and I think everyone's coming in now to get prepared for their final run. Bourbon Boy's going to be the first one out. He's already making his way up in towards the first sector and actually already going down the hill through No Name Corner and towards Puong. It's a fantastic corner, it really is. You've got to nail your entry point, your turning point, and then stick your foot hard to the loud pedal and hope it sticks, and really just pray you make it through to the other side and not in the barrier or indeed on the grass, which normally leads to the barrier. But nonetheless, they're not on a push lap just yet, Bourbon Boy, and he should not end in that unfortunate situation should it arise. Through Stavelot, named of course after the village, some I think 10 kilometres away from there, but in that direction. Of course, it's all the corners are named after the old circuit layout when it was absolutely massive and like 16 kilometres long. You would actually venture on over to the village of Stavelot, but the corner kept the name. Of course, it's just a much shortened circuit, but a lot of these corners do share the names of the villages that they sort of went towards. But now, of course, safety regulations and all, and of course, it is the right thing to do. You can't have drivers go darting off into a forest without any barriers or safety and hope for the best. So, either way, it is a good thing that they shortened it, and to be honest, it just helps with the racing action as well a bit, doesn't it? If you're on public roads with such a long circuit, the gaps do spread out quite a bit. Either way, though, Bourbon Boy, he's made his way through Rouge Radion, up the Camel straight he goes, and then in towards Les Combes, as then he will make his way back down the hill, highest point on the circuit now, and you can see the elevation change there. He starts to drive back down towards the bottom part of the circuit, which I think, if my memory serves me correctly, is about where Stavelot is, and then you're on a very slow rise up towards the bus stop and in towards La Source, turn number 1. But either way, you're still on the downward trajectory right now, so gravity is your best friend. The brakes your worst enemy, but you still need them to make the corners nonetheless. Of course, the aeros always help as well, but either way, it is crunch time here in qualifying. Only a few minutes left to go. Can't quite see how long. A minute and a half. I would imagine they will all be out on circuit now. Just waiting for Inny and Vinboy. They're going to be the last ones. And funnily enough, it's the two Ferraris. The Ferrari and the Haas. Getting a bit confused there, but they still haven't made it. Whoa! He's gone round! Oh! Now, was that him, Bourbon Boy, getting distracted by the car in front, or was that a genuine mistake? I didn't quite see it, even though I'm watching and looking as everyone else is. That just got away from me just for the moment there. He's back in. That's going to be qualifying done, though, for Bourbon Boy, and that's really unfortunate for him because he's not got a time set on the board. I wonder who that was. I think it may have been... Was it Marty, or was it... Any? It definitely wasn't any. He's heading out onto the circuit now. I don't even know if he's going to make it out on time. Either way, I think Marty could see a bit of a penalty coming his way, but I like I say, I can't say for sure. I didn't quite see what was happening, but nonetheless, he is on his flyer up towards Les Combes, and the top half. Whoa, that's wide. That's gone. Lap done. He might just have enough time to get round and go again. No, he won't. He's got 20 seconds. That's his qualifying dunk. No time set for Marty. That is his qualifying over and done with. It did look very, very questionable on entry for him. I thought the rear end really stepped out, and it certainly didn't. In the correction, he ended up, of course, not making the corner. I think Liam Harmon is going to be the first one actually across the line to finish their lap and finish qualifying up, kind of thing. Of course, Niall and Amy definitely not making it, as actually Liam Harmon's coming in. He's not going to set a lap time at all. So the battle for P number 1. Polo is currently your provisional pole man, and I think he's going to be the second to last guy to set his final flying run. We'll ride on board then with BRT Meatball, who is also in contention for this pole position. Let's see who is going to potentially take pole position here. Through the middle part of the lap they go, in towards the last proper corner really before you get to the bus stop. Stavelot, all important exit because you're carrying all the speed and momentum up this, well, it is a straight, it's got a turn and a kink in it, but it's flat out. Blue Blanchimont here as well, flat out as well in the dry, and then the next real braking zone is right now, and that is going to be into the bus stop chicane. Does he get it all neat and tidy? It looked pretty good. Now it's a dash to the line. Try and get as much traction on exit. It's an improvement. It's P3 for now. IRS Thomas next across the line. He goes pole position for now. Can Polo make a comeback? Not quite. It was an improvement, but he's going to have to settle for second. And AERT finishes qualifying off for us. I think that was P5. Yes, it was. The screen there confirming it for me. Well, there we have it. Qualifying done and dusted. IRS Thomas will take pole position. Little devil horns there on his character. Fantastic. But he'll be very happy with that. And I think IRS are going to be very happy with that indeed. They're trying to mount the challenge on BRT. And that is exactly what you want to do in order to get some points over on them. He's managed to take pole by over a tenth of a second. So really good lap time from him in the end. Polo tried his best, couldn't quite manage it, so he'll start P2. BRT Meatball is P3's teammate disqualified from the session, which is an odd one to see, but nonetheless will start at the back. And then we have Amy, Owen, Niall, Easton, Marty, Bourbon Boy, Liam Harbin, Heidi, and Vinboy, and a few of them down the back there not setting a lap time at all. Just couldn't get one together. So they will start further down the grid. So you can see here back to the championship. The standings, I should say. You know, Thomas with that pole position, he's looking pretty good to score some fantastic points here. I mean, of course, you only need to finish in the top 10. There's only 13, so if you finish this race, chances are you are scoring points, of course, with the slightly reduced numbers. But nonetheless, IRS have a pretty good chance here at catching up once again to BRT and hopefully taking that title fight closer down to the wire. But nonetheless, still got 26 between the two of them. But that can easily be swung in a weekend or two. Of course, then they're back in with the fight to try and take this championship away. Of course, BRT, the defending champions from last season, so they've got it all to do, and they're doing a very good job at defending thus far. But still, it's not over yet. They've not won it yet. It's still all in the balance of things. But nonetheless, we'll get racing very shortly indeed. In the meantime, maybe you can get a few bits of information from me. From pole down to turn number 1, the breaking point anyway, is 165 metres. So not a long run, but if Polo can get a good start, maybe he can get the jump on Thomas in towards the first corner, or at least up towards Les Combes after the Kemmel Straight. That's probably where you're going to see some moves being made. I don't think pole position really has the advantage here. I think you're better off being in second or third, but nonetheless, it's always nice to know that you are the fastest. But the safety car probabilities this evening, we're looking at 63% or 25 for a virtual safety car. However, that is based on real-world statistics. That is not esports statistics, shall we say. So you could see the number be slightly higher as lives are not on the line. People may go for a move here or there when in real life they may not make that risk. But nonetheless, we'll see how it all pans out. But in terms of strategy, we probably should steer one stop here this evening. I would imagine hard to medium, medium to hard, whichever way round they decide. And of course, if they want to stick on a soft to spice things up, I'm all for it, because it does make things a lot more interesting. But it's about a 19-second loss in the pits, so you're looking at a one stop nonetheless, just because it will be the fastest way. But you probably could get a 2. It depends on safety cars or virtual safety cars, if we get any, of course. In this race. Hopefully we won't. Hopefully we'll see it green all the way to the end. But nonetheless, 22 laps coming up. And hopefully it will be an absolute doozy for us to watch and see. Of course, you have got plenty of overtaking opportunities at this circuit. Of course, Les Combes being the first one, even in La Source, turn number 1 here at the start. Definitely opportunities there awaiting, and into the bus stop chicane, but that doesn't mean you can't go for it in the middle part of the lap if you've got the pace and speed over your rivals, because we've seen it. You can go side by side through there. It's not impossible. It's just very tricky to pull off and not have contact with each other. But these guys are in the elite division for a reason. They know how to race wheel to wheel, side by side, so I wouldn't count it out that someone does something such as that, but we will, of course, watch it all unfold and give you the play-by-play as we see it. I've not got a ready up time. Hopefully won't be too much longer now until we see that green flag, or until we see the lights flashing, I should say, and we get going under green conditions. But nonetheless, bit of a break. If you want to grab a drink, I mean, maybe you should have done it already, but you might have about 30 seconds to just grab one now and settle in for 22 laps of pure adrenaline-filled action to come. can't imagine it being much longer now till we get going. Of course, what we don't want is waiting all this time and then we get to, you know, out of La Source down towards El Rouge Radion, and then we get the pile-up such as from 1998 where cost that was the most expensive pile-up in history of Formula One, and obviously I think over half of the grid had to jump into the third car, and I think it was said then the estimated bill for it all at the time was about 13 million US dollars, which is absolutely, for 1998, that's an insane amount of money. Obviously now not so much, but nonetheless, there's the lights. They are on 4, 5 as we get ready to go here in Spa. The lights out, and there they go. Thomas got an absolutely blistering start. Polo dropping back just a little bit there. He's fallen behind Meatball already as they file their way through La Source, turn number 1. Meatball up into second. Polo has sat in third position for the minute. Any there lurking behind in the Haas for P4. Not far behind either. Let's have a little look here. What tyres have everyone gone for? Gone for, apologies. There we go. Most of them opting for that hard compound tyre. Will we see an overtake into Les Combes? Not this time around. Line astern being held for these drivers at the moment. And as we look a little bit further back, Hady there, P13 in the Williams. He's got it. Oh, I don't know what's happened to him. He's way far down, as that's a bit of a move. That is a move from Bourbon Boy up the inside there and got the move done, signed, sealed, delivered, and Niall will be demoted to 8th position. Bourbon Boy up into 7th as they go through Puong for the first time. Already seems to have petered out into a train here, so no longer side by side, but that does tend to happen when there's a slightly reduced number on the grid. Don't know what has happened to this Williams. I'm going to check here. Have we had contact? Is there damage? Doesn't look though as though there is. We're on the medium tyre, but we're just dropping time left and right. So I'm a bit curious as to what has happened here. He's maintained it through just a bit there, but nonetheless, interesting start from the Williams. Not the one he was obviously looking for, but here we go. Meatball right up onto the gearbox of the Ferrari of the IRS driver. Thomas still maintaining the lead after lap 1 as we go to start lap number 2. Everybody obviously still within this train, nice and neatly tucked in, and DRS will be, of course, be activated once we cross the line next time around. So Thomas has got his work to do if he wants to try and break the toe of the guys behind, but it's very difficult to do here. Lots of long straights. And of course the slipstream effect can still be quite strong. Here we go, Meatball right tucked up behind, pulls out of the slipstream already. I think he's going to go for the move, maybe even before we get to Les Combes at the top of the hill. They're going to be side by side, in fact. Thomas has the inside line, takes it for himself, but he's gone a little bit wide on exit. This is going to allow Meatball then back into the action, but don't count out Polo. He's lurking behind as well. But I think Thomas has just about got it covered for the time being. Still 1, 2, 3, Thomas, Meatball, Polo, as it was since we started this Grand Prix. And looking a bit further back, Bourbon Boys managed to get past Easton in that Mercedes. So the Alpha Tauri looking quite strong in the opening laps here. I tell you, we can try and get a hold of who's won, who's lost the most points here. I want that. Apologies here, a bit of technical difficulties. There we go. Bourbon Boy currently 3 positions up from where he started, so definitely the biggest winner at the start of this Grand Prix. Let's see if he can continue on this trajectory, because if he does, you could see him in with a chance of fighting for the podium at a minimum, maybe even for P number 1. But at the moment it's still early doors, still a long way to go. As you can see there, the possible racing strategies, as I say, likely will be the one stop, but it depends what tyres everybody goes for. That will be interesting to see. Everyone seems to just be setting fastest lap after fastest lap, all the way down to Vinboy in 10th position, who's just set the fastest, a 1:41.2, as DRS now in activation. So what this means, that little flap in the rear wing of the car, they will be allowed to open it up if they're within a second of the car in front within the DRS zone. That just gives them an extra boost of speed, so by the time you get to the end of the straight, you'd be about 16 kilometers faster than your rival, and Meatball there putting it to good effect immediately and takes the lead then away from Thomas on lap number 3. BRT Samuel just picking up a 3-second time penalty there. First man to do it. That's the Williams of Hades, still struggling, 16 seconds down. It looks as though he can't get any grip in that Williams. And oh, what is going on? Let's have a little look. Just doesn't seem to have it. Don't know if he is an absolute rookie for the team, but nonetheless, I think I'm trying to think which team it is. In fact, that is the Williams outfit. I can double check here, but maybe they might want to rethink who they stick in the car next time by. But it's still early days. It's the Aero Esports. Still a long way to go in this race, so you never know. He may come back, but it's normally very, very tricky to do so once you fall out of that DRS range. And of course, 1 down to 12, they are all within the train, so that's what they'll be looking to do, at least stay within the train. Oh, the Red Bull there, almost going into the back of the Ferrari in the braking zone, but he has got the Haas almost pushing him round. Pulls out the slipstream just to try and spot his braking marker probably a little bit easier. Through La Source they go for the 4th time. You'll be surprised how quick this race probably will go. It is one of the, of course, the longest circuit on the calendar, but in terms of lap time, it's not the longest, so it does tend to go quite quickly. It's already, yeah, lap number 4. So you may see Tom. Oh, actually, we've already seen Tom. He's already passed Meatball already for the lead. So that front 2 swapping back and forth as the Williams there. I don't know what he's doing. He's completely stopped at La Source now. I think he's just got it moving now. So he's still in this race, which is the important thing, but nonetheless, he's still very much down and out at the time for the time being. So the end, I think the only thing he may be hoping for now is a safety car. But at the moment, all of these guys keeping it very clean and tidy, and the racing is looking quite good. So I'm not sure a safety car is going to happen. Here's the Red Bull though of Owen, getting all so close to the back of the Haas car there in front of him. But once again, these guys, if they have the DRS to overtake, unless you are Thomas out in front, the car behind you, well, the car in front of you, is also going to have DRS to help defend as well. So it's still very, very tricky to make a pass. You really do need to play it cool with the battery, because that is probably your ticket to getting the move done. It's just a matter of strategically using it to make the move and get it secured before your rival can maybe get past you. Once again, another yellow flag for that Williams. And now the Haas of Marty has actually dropped off the back there, so I wonder if there was contact between a couple of them there. They're going side by side, the Ferrari and the McLaren into La Source, turn number 1. That's Vinboy. I think he went around the long way, the outside of turn number 1 on that McLaren. That is a fantastic move if that is how it played out from the looks of things. He's got it secured. He'll have the DRS to defend now, and also maybe keeping his eye forward to try and get past this Mercedes, as Polo now fighting with Thomas out front. Oh, the Mercedes getting a little bit wide. This is going to open the chance for the McLaren to sneak around the outside. I think the door very firmly shut by Vinboy in that Ferrari, as Easton there had a bit of a moment in Lecom, and from that it almost gave the opportunity to the guys behind to make a move done. I think in all of that as well, Thomas has had a bit of a mare. He's now currently down P6. Bourbon Boy's up, Owen's up, Eney's up, and the Ferrari, just like that, has lost about 4 positions in the matter of a sector. I wonder what happened there. Maybe a bit of contact, maybe a little bit of argy-bargy, but, you know, could have been a mistake as well. These guys obviously in the elite division for a reason. They are the top drivers for their esports team they are representing. But they are not exactly immune to mistakes. Of course, they can be made. Nobody is perfect. If you were, you'd be Max Verstappen. But none of these guys are, unfortunately, as much as they probably dream about it. Here goes Thomas. They're trying to get the move back already for Bourbon Boy. Up the inside for the first part of the bus stop chicane. Gets it done nice and easy. And he'll be looking forward as well, because the 2 guys in front of him, the Haas and Owen, they're fighting side by side now. Into La Source they go. Owen is the car behind. I think that may have been a bit of DRS chicken potentially, but interestingly, Eney's dropped out of the DRS zone to the guys in front. This could be a crucial pivoting moment of the race. And here we go, up the Camel Straight. Are we maybe going to see it 3 wide towards Lecom? I'm not sure about that. The two guys getting past Eni, who did not have the DRS because he was over that second window. And now what really needs to happen here, Owen or Tomas, whichever one. I think Owen, being that he is the lead car, really needs to put an absolute stint in here in the middle sector if he's to close that gap to the front two. Otherwise, they may just run away with it and be battling it for the win themselves. 1.1 is the gap. He's only got just about 2/10 to close on the lead pair, as Owen got the pace on his teammate, on the BRT man, Meatball. It's going to be close. It's going to be very, very tough indeed. He's got to do it before the bus stop chicane. Really needs to make an impression out of Stavolo here and hope that the aerodynamics of that car is not too draggy and that he can close the gap. He's definitely going to use battery here. Look at that. The gap has dropped. That'll get him back within a second. Dump the battery, use as much of it as you can, get under the second, get the DRS back, and at least then you can begin to save on your battery once again, because it is a lot easier to do so if you are within a second of the car in front. So well done, that's what he needed to do, executed it perfectly, and now has caught back up to the train once again. This is in theory the battle for first place, all the way from first down to 8th position, because they are all within a train of one another, but of course there are gaps in between, there's cars in between. It's not exactly a straight up battle for the lead, but technically they are all close enough to be there. Binboy trying to have a little look at the two in front. That's Bourbon Boy and Eni going side by side. I think Bourbon Boy got the move done into Lecom. He'll take P5 once again in this race, and Eni has now dropped down to 6th position. Tomas has managed to work his way back up to 3rd, which is good news for him, because obviously he did drop to 6th position only a few laps ago. As BRT Samuel there picks up another time penalty. I didn't realise it, but the Williams of Hadi has DNF'd. I don't know. I didn't quite see that happening, if I'm being completely honest with you all. I'm not sure if that was a genuine DNF or if it was him retiring. I didn't quite see it. If it's a DNF, I'd imagine he's crashed, but no safety car was caused, no virtual safety car was caused, so clearly was able to get out the way quite nice and easily. We get towards the end of lap number 7, your rundown. BRT Meatball Polo in 2nd, IRS Tomas 3rd after recovering from 6th position only a few laps ago. AERT Owen in 4th. Bourbon Boy has found his way into 5th and maybe going for 4th now. Eni is 6th, Vinboy is 7th, Easton 8th, Liam Harbour 9th, just getting past his teammate of Niall, who is in 10th. Then BRT Samuel and Marty, and actually Liam Harmon's just got past Easton there for P8 as well on the exit of La Source. I think that may be a game of checking though between the two of them, because whoever's behind going just before you get to El Rouge Radion is going to have the DRS, and yeah, you can see the Mercedes easily passes that McLaren once again. Oh boy, they drop back a little bit from Owen in front, but still obviously close enough for that DRS. Let us know in the chat who you think is going to take the win this evening. Who are you placing your bets on? Who are you hedging? Where are you going to put your money? Who is taking the win for you all? I have to call it here. It's very difficult, but I think potentially Tomas is still looking very strong. Of course, set the fastest lap in qualifying, so definitely has the pace there. That's Eni in the background going wide out of Puong. That's going to allow Vinboy up very close onto the gearbox of that Haas car. Could we maybe see a move? I don't think it'll be done here, but we may potentially get one into the bus stop chicane, still tucked up underneath the gearbox of the Haas. He's probably going to use a little bit of battery here to either get it alongside or just very, very close, at least to try and mount a move into the bus stop chicane. But Blanchimont first of all. Gap's just open ever so slightly, so Eni there just using that battery to defend a little bit from the Ferrari behind, but that mistake almost cost him the position. Nonetheless, still hangs on to it for the time being. I think my money is on Thomas in that Ferrari. There's going to be a move into La Source, the sister Ferrari. Vinboy trying to go down the inside then of the Haas car. Doesn't quite get it done, but Eni just about able to get the grip on exit. Holds on to P6 for the time being. But that was very, very close indeed. Vinboy maybe getting a little bit restless and impatient, trying to get the move, trying to force it even, as the cars in front also nose to tail, very, very close to one another. Owen also up and under the gearbox of the sister Ferrari of Tomas. I thought maybe we may have saw a little bit of contact into Lecom. Luckily, these guys know what they're doing and no incidences occur. And thank God no incidences have really occurred so far. It's been nice, clean, green racing track for the entire race thus far. Of course, we're only on lap number 9, but we're almost at the halfway mark. So, nonetheless, we've still got pit stops to come, and that could shake things up for sure. Normally, you want to get the undercut, especially around such a long lap like Spa. Getting in early, getting that undercut done can be very beneficial to you. So it'll be interesting to see who is going to blink first, who is going to opt in and go onto that medium tyre. I'd imagine it's going to be the medium tyre that everybody switches onto, or maybe someone might want to go long on the hard and put a soft on towards the end. See what they can do just to shake the strategy up just a little bit, but I've got a feeling they'll play it safe. They'll all stick a medium on, but it will definitely come down to who pits first or who stays out that extra lap. They're all flying around still for the moment. Lap number 10, they have just started. Nobody blinking just yet into the pits as they make their way through El Rouge Radion, up the hill, onto the Kemmel Straight for the 10th time now. You may even see a move for the lead here. Polo right up behind Meatball. He's not even got the DRS open. He's still gaining on the guy in front. I think this is strategic though. You don't really want to be the man out front round here because you're using up that battery. I say that as Meatball's got the best battery of them all. Tomas is the one struggling a little bit for the moment in terms of battery life. You can see here, as I flick down the screen, Liam Harmon using quite a lot of his, as well as BRT Samuel. Bit of a gap back to the P10 lot though. The battle there. Niall also used a fair chunk, and Marty, who is some 11 seconds down off the back with a few penalties, but got a lot of battery. So you get a safety car, you never know, you could be back in this. But nonetheless, you can see there the battery levels of everybody. The engineers have just rejoiced in their seats. Marty picking up another 3-second time penalty then, just to make his day go from bad to worse. Here comes Eni though, in towards the chicane, sitting right up close to that blue AlphaTauri. Of course, next year will be the V-Carb. I prefer V-Carb, I do not like RB. It does not work, if you ask me. It should not be RB. I mean, that is of course their name, but I think V-Carb is a lot nicer. But I did notice in all of that, Vinboy is the first one to come in onto that fresh set of medium, so he's going for that undercut. Can he make it work to perfection? He should gain some positions in doing so. Marty then into the pits. He's retired from this Grand Prix. Feels as though he's not going to get back in at all. BRT Samuel's also pitted in on this lap. He's trying to get that undercut, especially on the guys in front of him. How much of an undercut is he going to get though? That is the big question. I think Vinboy actually could get quite a nice undercut on a lot of these guys. He was about 7th position on this train, and to be honest, I think he could even go to the very top. Polo's taken the lead in all of this sort of hype, if you like, around what is going to happen, because I'm just watching the gaps between Vinboy and Niall there. Of course, there's a bit of a gap between the two McLarens, but nonetheless, it's about 17 seconds to the back of the lead train, and that gap is going to close over this lap. I think Vinboy could come out provisionally in the lead. He'll of course have a slightly older set of tyres, but nonetheless he will have track position and he can definitely take the fight to the guys out front. That could be big for IRS. Like I say, they're trying to score some big points over BRT this evening. Meatball doing his absolute best to not lose too many, but Samuel, they're struggling down in 11th. Having a few penalties on top of that does not help matters either. Who's that coming into the pits now? That was Owen Eni. They're into the pits. And the leaders still going around once again on the hard. So are they thinking then maybe to go to the soft tyre at the end of this session? It'll be interesting to see what strategies these guys are all doing. As the gaps there, they're opening out just a little bit. Easton, he's dropped out of that DRS zone. Out onto the pit exit, here they come. Well, it's actually going to be pretty close, so I think Vinboy will definitely have it, but Eni and Owen not far behind. But now that Vinboy's got another lap under his belt here that he can gain on these leaders out front, so that undercut advantage is going to be even bigger, and that means the guys who are still out on the same hard tyre, it's going to get a little bit harder for them because they're going to have to play catch up when they do pit. These guys are all going to be probably 1, 2 and 3 by the time everybody else goes into the pits. That's not what any needed. 3 seconds adding to his time then. That will be added to the end of the session. So he's going to want a 3-second gap to the guy behind him, whoever's behind him, in order to maintain the position he currently sits in when we see that checkered flag, of course. Just making his day a little bit harder. I'm riding on board here with Vinboy. He's on his own at the moment, but he is the man on the charge. He went for the earlier pit stop than the likes of those around him to get that undercut, and this could be a bit of a masterstroke in strategy because everyone else on the hard tyre, they're still out there. He's just set the fastest middle sector, has Vinboy. He's on an absolute flyer. He's going to try and break the DRS to Eni behind, I would imagine. If he can do that, he will be absolutely laughing. But he has got a tall order ahead of him. I think he should still come out in first position by the time everyone gets round and pitted. Interestingly, they've gone onto the mediums. They've not gone for the soft medium compound tyres, but they are going to be some couple of laps younger. They'll be fresher, they'll be grippier, so they, in theory, they should go a little bit quicker because there's less fuel in the car as you go further and further into the Grand Prix. There they are filtering out. It's not as big of an undercut as I was actually expecting. Meatball there, who was at one point your leader, I think he may have been in second position when he pitted. He comes out behind Owen, who pitted the lap before. Eni's also in front of them, and then Vinboy is still further. Actually, Vinboy's in this battle. Vinboy's just gone from provisional lead all the way down to provisionally now fourth. He didn't have the DRS to help him there. He was an absolute sitting duck, and just like that, he's lost 3 positions. Eni's now provisionally in the lead of this Grand Prix. ART Owen now provisionally second, Meatball then in third position. I thought Vinboy had absolutely struck a masterstroke in the strategy, but wow, these guys clearly proving me absolutely wrong because they did have the pace to still maintain the sort of gaps that were there. Of course, he got a bit of an undercut, but I don't think he got as much as he was maybe expecting. Nonetheless, though, Meatball not in the provisional lead of this Grand Prix. Of course, Polo and Bourbon Boy out, and Niall actually out 1, 2 and 3, but they still have to pit. I would imagine they'll do it at the end of this lap. If not, you may see them go one more and put the soft tyre on to the end, but they'll have a big tyre advantage should they do it. But I think they're going to come in this lap. Yes, there they go. Into the pits they fly. See what tyres they stick on. Will Niall follow them in? I would imagine he would do. Through the bus stop go Eni, Owen, Meatball, Vinboy and Thomas. Will be provisionally the top 5 now as the rest just came into the pit. So Eni leads this Grand Prix, followed by Owen behind. Meatball's in third, Vinboy fourth, Thomas is fifth, but the 2 Ferraris of the IRS Ferraris looking quite strong. I don't think Vinboy's going to put up much of a fight for his teammate. They of course want to take home as many points as they can. Crucially, they want to be beating Meatball, who is just in front of them. As Owen makes a move, Meatball's going to follow him through. They both passed Eni in towards Les Combes. 1 and 2 now is the Red Bull and the Alfa Romeo. Eni dropped to 3rd, and then the 2 IRS Ferraris 4th and 5th. You can see there, Bourbon Boy 4 seconds back. Polo also joining him 4 seconds down. That's quite a big margin to close up in only about, well, how many laps you got? About 8 laps to do it. It's not a long way to go when you really think about it. We're well over the halfway mark now. We're going to slowly get into the crunch time, the closing stages of this Grand Prix. Meatball looking incredibly feisty behind the Red Bull of Owen. He's looking left and right, filling the wing mirrors of that Red Bull. He really is trying to make a statement. He's saying, I am here, look at me, I'm coming for that top spot, and don't get in my way. I think he's very much trying to make a statement here and stamp his authority on this championship, and of course help BRT in the process raise that trophy once again, putting in a tremendous defense for that constructors title for the teams. It's not so much about the drivers in this championship, it is about your esports team. It's an inter-sport championship more so than an individual driver championship, but nonetheless we still get brilliant racing week in, week out, and even with only 13 cars at the start of this, we have had very much a lot of action from start to finish. It's not over yet, we've still got a bit to go, but from the start we've still had tons of action. DRS now going to be open for Meatball, doesn't even need it, pulling alongside without it, takes the lead then of this Grand Prix. I think the 2 IRS drivers, they really probably should swap them round. Tomas has got younger tyres as he picks up a penalty. He still does have the younger tyres though, probably has the better overall pace, but Vinboy seems to be doing everything he needs to do to hold on to 4 for the time being. Meatball though takes the lead of the Grand Prix. Eni now in 2nd, Owen is 3rd, and then you've got IRS Ferraris, Vinboy and Tomas 4th and 5th, and Polo then down in 6th. They've closed that gap with 2 seconds in just a lap. Keep an eye on that, because if they can continue to close it, that could get rather interesting. As we've had an off. We've had an off. In Pouhon, who was that? I think it's BRT Sam. He's got it going once again, but he had a massive off there. It looked as though he was almost in the barrier how far off the circuit he was, but I think maybe he had a bit of a spin. He's got the car going, he's still in this race, but we had a bit of a, well, that was a touch and go call. I thought we might have had a safety car then right at the dying death of this Grand Prix, but luckily no. We're still under green flag conditions, so racing still resumes until the end. IRS Ferraris, they've closed that gap just a little bit then, but they really need to get a move on now. Only 6 laps to go in this Grand Prix. If they want any chance of winning and gaining over BRT, they really do need to get right behind Meatball if they can beat him, because then that will close the gap in the championship. Of course, Meatball's doing a solo strategy here really for points, as his teammate is having a very difficult evening. At the moment, he's just pulled into the pits actually, so maybe he did have a bit of damage. As Eni goes through once again on Meatball, and the two Ferraris have finally swapped it around. Tomas now is the lead Ferrari car, as Bourbon Boy and Polo have swapped around once again. Didn't close up on that previous lap. Still the gap is hovering at that 2-second mark, but if you get a bit of a fight for the lead, they may be able to close it up nonetheless, and then that does bring the the battle for the lead essentially all the way down to 8th position. You've got Polo Easton there, 7th and 8th as well, and before you do get a bit of a gap back to Liam Hardman, Niall, and then BRT Samuel, who's just had to pit again, I'm assuming due to damage on the car. But either way, top 4 here comes Tomas, incredibly close to the back of the AERT car of Owen. I say that as Meatball's also incredibly close to the house in front of him. Will we see a move maybe into the bus stop chicane here? This will be nice and interesting. Should we see it? Not quite on this occasion, I think. Behind though, the Ferrari definitely having a little look in there, trying to put The Red Bull out of shape, offline to maybe get a run down here towards the source, turn number 1. Will we see a move here then? DRS to help him along. He's alongside enough. Makes a move into the source. They're side by side still. Who's going to blink? I say blink. Who's going to back out towards El Rouge Radion? I think the Ferrari just about had the traction nonetheless. The Red Bull sits in behind. He'll still get the DRS, Will Thomas, so he can go chasing after the 2 out front. Meatball probably going to want to put a move on the Haas driver. Certainly does do. Gets it done nice and easy even before they reach Le Com and the braking zone of it. Takes the lead once again then, but the Ferrari is on an absolute charge at the moment. He's already up behind the Haas car. Probably will want to get that move done fairly quickly and see if he can take the fight and the battle to BRT this evening. Of course, he has got that penalty looming overhead though, but nonetheless, the further he can get up, and of course if he overtakes Eni, that does mean he'll secure that position at least, even if he does lose out to the guys behind. But I have just seen Bourbon Boy and that little group, they've managed to close the gap there within the DRS train once again, so this could shake things up. That latter group have slightly better tyres as they did pit a little bit after the front guys now. Can they put that extra grip and speed to use, I wonder? IRS Thomas, number 99, looking good. Goes alongside into the bus stops again. Going to try and get that Haas out of shape for the final corner. Can he get the drive on the exit? I think he can. He's going to have DRS to help him overtake. A little bit of battery use, I think, as well. Going to get the move done, though, nice and easy into La Source. No problem there for Thomas. The Haas, though, having maybe a little look on the exit. Didn't quite think... I don't think he quite had the grip to do it, but nonetheless, move done for Thomas up into second and still crucially within that DRS window to Meatball in front, so he can close the gap up between himself and the BRT driver. I think the Hastavini is going to want to take this back as quick as he can, but nonetheless, they've both got the overspeed on the leader, but not quite close enough on this occasion. As Owen then, unfortunately, now he's picked up a penalty. That could be good news for IRS though, as Vinboy, providing he doesn't pick up a penalty, he will gain those 3 positions. He'll be sat in second place should the Grand Prix end as it does now with the gaps that we have now. Still got 4 laps to go though. Quite a lot can happen. It is a long lap, so don't count anything out. Still may see another change for the lead yet. Meatball though is your current leader and in front of IRS Thomas, who's 7 tenths back. You get Eni, Owen, Vinboy, Bourbon Boy, Polo, Easton, Liam Harmon and Niall round out the top 10 point finishers. And BRT Samuel still in this race but down in 11th, but should a car retire, he'll still pick up that final point if he gets to the end. To the bus stop. Owen struggling to stick within that DRS of the guy in front as Easton here has a big corner cut into the final corner. That's giving him 5 seconds worth of time penalties. That's not what he needed. He may even become under threat from Liam Harmon behind. The gap is not that big. Of course, Harmon there with a penalty himself, but if he can close it up a little bit, you may even see Easton lose out to that McLaren. But at the moment, he's still safe in 8th position, even with the time penalty. We go, DRS in activation. Thomas not even using it. He wants to sit behind Meatball. He's going to try and charge that battery, I'd imagine, as best he can and make a move probably on the final flying run, because that is your best chance at stealing the win here. Sit in second right until lap 22 and then give it all, guns a blazing, go for the move and try and snatch the victory away from your rival. Bourbon Boy, he's managed to get past Vinboy. Definitely got those tyres are 3 laps younger than Vinboy's, and he's made that look, well, he's put them to good use clearly there. Polo next, putting Vinboy on the chopping block. Can he hold off and secure potentially a podium here, Vinboy? Because I think that's what this is going to be a battle for. This is going to be 2nd and 3rd in the by the time we see that checkered flag with those penalties, of course. Bourbon Boy, I don't think he's going to even need to worry about the penalties. He's got the move done on Owen. Out of Stavelot, through Blanchimont they go now. Doesn't even need DRS, does Owen? He's going to get it all done under his own steam. Takes 4th position away, and he can go charging after the front 3 now. That's Vinboy, Polo going side by side. Polo, whoa, big tank slap. He's in the wall. He's in the wall. He's lost his front wing. I think that may have been a little bit of contact between the two, but nonetheless, he has lost control of the car. He's in the wall. He's lost that front wing. We've got a yellow, but he's going once again, so no safety car required. I don't think the damage on the road is going to be an issue, the sort of carbon fibre. Oh, just like that. The Red Bull, though, missing out. And, of course, he's down in 10th. He's going to need to do an entire lap as well without that front wing. That is going to cost him big time. He may even lose out on a point here this evening because BRT Samuel, who is still going around, I think he'll close that gap up really quickly. Oh, no, it's not what he needed, obviously. That's got to be gut-wrenching for Polo. He was looking for at least a podium once time penalty sorted it all out. And just like that, in the blink of an eye, you're down, probably going to be at the back of this grid. He's still in it though, and he's not given up, which is what we like to see. Grit and determination, because not everyone is such inclined to do so. As Polo then, he's picked up that penalty. That's going to be just the damage hampering him, struggling to get the car turned in and whatnot. So it doesn't surprise me, but it's his day's going from bad to worse, of course. It's not what he needed. Nonetheless, the battle still rages on. The top 3, Tomas, Eni, Meatball. Meatball having a little look there into the chicane on Eni. Thought about it. Thought better of it, I think, because I think he knew the door was going to shut and that gap was going to close no matter what he tried. I think it's safest bet. Wait for the DRS up the Kemmel and just get a nice easy pass done, which is a shame that is what Formula 1 has found itself in. We want to see those, daring moves and amazing passes, because that is what Formula 1 is all about. The pinnacle of motorsport, putting it absolutely all on the line, rather than just this nice, easy overtake with the assistance of the DRS. I think Polo might retire. Yeah, he has. I think he knew that he wasn't going to be in the points, so I don't blame him. It's just a sad way to end his Grand Prix, of course. So he'll finish in 11th. He'll be classified, but nonetheless did not reach the full 22 laps. But Eni now leads from Meatball. Tomas is in 3rd. And to be honest, that's not the worst place to be in right now. However, you have got that penalty. So Meatball looking to be in the best position. Bourbon Boy right there as well, so don't count him out. This could be a very interesting final lap for the lead here. If Bourbon Boy can get past Meatball, then that will be crucial for the result of this Grand Prix, because of course you've got penalties to look at as well. I think Vinboy is still within a shout of the podium here as well. He's just going to keep it all neat and tidy. Don't pick up a penalty. And, of course, don't lose too much time to the guys in front of you. And you should be sitting quite pretty up to the bus stop chicane for the penultimate time. The battle then, the gap is less than a couple tenths between the top 3, and Bourbon Boy looming large in the background as well. This is what it all comes down to. Who's got the most amount of battery to defend or attack through La Source for the final time? And now the run down towards El Rouge Radion. Who can get the best launch up here and then get onto the Kemmel Straight and make that move, make that best chance to overtake? Bourbon Boy losing out big time there in terms of the power and the strategy. He might be thinking about using that a bit later on in the lap, but at the moment, here we go. This could be the move for the lead. IRS Tomasi can't quite get the Haas. The Haas did have a lot of battery. He's done well to defend. He is crucially ahead of BRT Meatball though. So Meatball in 3rd position. He knows though that these guys in front have the time penalty. He's biding his time. Bourbon Boy behind. He's got quite a lot of battery here. When's he going to use it is my question. He's sitting at just about a second between him and Meatball. when will he make that charge? I wonder, because the guys in front of him have got a very low battery indeed. He can now use a lot of this towards the end. We may even see a last-minute move into the bus stop chicane, and wouldn't that be something for the lead and the win of this Grand Prix? But the gap's still sitting at 9 tenths. You've only got a sector to do it now. You really need to make your move and make it well. Low fuel there for Meatball Boy as well. That little red light flashing. I wonder if he's going to have the fuel to get to the end. Here he goes now, though. Bourbon Boy using all of that battery he can. He's got a lot of it still left in the tank. The gap closing every inch of circuit they use. I think Tomas may go for a move into the final chicane round the outside. He's going to have that inside line, but my thoughts are looking here between Bourbon Boy and Meatball onto the exit. He's going to have the battery. Will he get him on the line? No, not quite. Meatball takes the win then once the penalties have evened themselves out. Bourbon Boy is second. Eni then has managed to take third position, just about over Vinboy and Tomas. Of course, those penalties there at the end did come into effect. Vinboy, unfortunately, unable to get on the podium, but he was only less than 3 tenths away from doing it. But my word, what an absolute finish to that race it was. And Bourbon Boy, look how close he was to victory. My word, he was trying everything he could to do that. But nonetheless, Meatball Boy able to make it where it counts. He takes the win then this evening, and a well-deserved win as well. Strategy-wise, you know, racing hard and everything such as that, he did a very good race indeed. I think my driver of the day, though, is going to have to go to P2. Oh, so close to P1 was he, Bourbon Boy, but nonetheless we'll have to settle for that slightly lower step on the podium. But I think, considering where he started this race, he is going to be very, very happy indeed. Yes, Meatball Boy definitely elevated himself this evening. The Swede did everything he needed to do and just about hung on to the victory at the end. So well done, fair play to him there. So here we are, the final rundown then for this evening. Meatball Boy takes the win, and a fantastic result for him as well. Picks up 25. Bourbon Boy there in second position, climbed from 9th on the starting grid. Brilliant result, and as of course, as I said a second ago, my driver of the day. Well done to him. Eni does hold on to third position after penalties. Well done. Rounds out that podium. Then Tomas in fourth, Vinboy fifth, and unfortunately they do not earn enough points to outscore BRT this weekend, so that's a bit of a missed opportunity, I think, for them, as they were looking pretty good to catch up at least to BRT, but nonetheless they finished fourth and fifth. Owen sixth, Easton seventh, Hardman in eighth, Niall in 9th, and rounding out the top 10 and finishes is Samuel. I think Polo does get classified, but did not technically finish this Grand Prix. But back to the point scorers then, you can see BRT, they're going to pull away a little bit from IRS, and of course I'll have the updated standings for you next time, which will be, of course, next Friday, same time. It's going to be 8 PM British summer time now, because of course we are the hour ahead, and I think it's been that way for about a month, but nonetheless it is 8 o'clock British summer time. Next week we have got the Miami Grand Prix for you. That will be taking place on the 10th of May, and of course if you're gonna enjoy a bit more Formula 1, you can watch the actual Miami Grand Prix now live from America. But nonetheless, I hope to see you all next week, same time, for round 8